From the beginning, I was brought up in Mexico, and my family, we had a lot of uncles and aunts and cousins, and all of them were involved in some kind of work, either with the schools or with the Zionist groups. And so I knew that sooner or later I would become part of some kind of enterprise like that involving the Jewish community.
When I think about Mark, and of course you can't think about Mark without Ellie, his partner as well, they define community for me, not only in terms of their participation, but they help actually make the Los Angeles Jewish community a community by serving as role models, not only for their peers, people their own age, but also for the younger generation.
He makes his time available. He's very concerned with volunteerism, active volunteerism in the organized Jewish community, volunteerism within the school communities, and he's that unique blend of a senior volunteer who could do lots and lots of things with his personal time, but makes time available for our community on behalf of assuring that the next generation is going to be strong and involved in Jewish life.
I got involved in Jewish education very naturally. For me, it was something that was always very important. As time wore on, I ended up specializing more and more into it. And one way I did that was by being involved at the Bureau of Jewish Education. In '72, when we started the Heschel Day School, I had already had a background from being involved at the Bureau. So I've always had a community mindset, and I always think in terms of the total picture.
I think that Mark, from the beginning, understood that Jewish education had a role to play in the larger Jewish community, and he was able, through the establishment of these various campuses around the San Fernando Valley and the city as well, to universalize this vision.
He contributes with his time, he contributes with his wisdom, he contributes with his generosity, he contributes with his consensus building, and he contributes because he is concerned about Jewish education from one end of the religious spectrum to the other. He's quite unusual in that regard, very pluralistic in his outlook, a consensus builder extraordinaire.
Mark understands that the real work of actual hands-on education is happening at the micro level. It's happening on the ground. It's happening with kids in classes, in school now. And then there are the macro policy pieces. He also understands that the community, the macro community, needs to support what's going on the ground. So he has chosen to be involved in both places, and he understands the synergies between those two entities.
I feel that by working in a communal level, I'm actually helping my individual schools. I think I bring a lot to them by having this communal background. And I think that by having a bureau that supports them and that makes efforts to try to make them all better, more effective, more efficient, and to get possibly more children into this total system, it'll help the individual schools too.
The BJA is the central address for Jewish education here in Los Angeles. It's a place in which all of the schools, both the day schools, other formal education in the congregational schools, youth groups, etc., can sit together and really plan for a future which will interweave formal Jewish education and informal Jewish education effectively and assure that we're able to do the job.
It's that neutral organization that can bring us all together, Reform, Conservative, Orthodox, for purposes of calendaring, for purposes of, hopefully in the future, joint fundraising efforts, for community planning, and bottom line, raising endowment for Jewish education for the future. And Mark Lainer is the embodiment of all of that.
Schools are very busy working. The principals have a limited amount of time. They can only work with their own faculty. They can only work with their own children. But having an umbrella organization that helps them is very important because it gives them a context that they can operate, that they're not just abandoned, they're not isolated, that they feel they're part of a community, that somebody is helping them, we give financial aid and allocations to schools from the community, from the Federation, through the Bureau of Jewish Education.
I don't think we could have opened some of these new campuses, Heschel West, and New Community Jewish High School, without the support of the Bureau of Jewish Education, which acts as both an advocate and an educational resource for our initiatives. And Mark fully understood the importance of involving the Bureau of Jewish Education right from the beginning in all of these projects.
If we make the schools function better, if we can increase the number of students in the schools, all that goes into ultimately helping more children get a Jewish education, build into themselves a desire to be part of a Jewish community, to act Jewishly, to behave Jewishly, to support Israel. I mean, the end result is we make those children better Jews, and in all ways.
We can learn from Mark Lainer that you can be involved in something very specific in the area of Jewish education or broader Jewish community, but additionally, that you can be involved on behalf of a broader community, on behalf of a collective will, collective welfare of the Jewish people, and that it is very possible to make a significant impact and imprint on the future of Jewish life in the 21st century.
No one has done more than he and Ellie to promote the idea of Jewish education in a very real and concrete fashion throughout the Los Angeles area. And it is a tribute to both the BJA and to Mark that they are working together on these various projects and initiatives.
Being involved is wonderful. It gives a lot of satisfaction. You're actually accomplishing something and you're giving back to the community. But to do it in a broader sense, to do it in a community sense, is even greater. So all of those people who are involved with specific institutions, with specific schools, and they're doing wonderful work, and very honestly, quite often that's all the time they have to do. But if they're able in any way to expand their horizon, to get involved with the Bureau, to get involved in a community-based program, to support things in a more general way, I think that they will discover even greater satisfaction.
Voices praise your name. The tree of life will